It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. Of course, this is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show. Keeping you connected to the automotive world, which we like to do. Locally created, nationally celebrated. What's going to be on this morning's show? Well, we're going to talk about some of the amazing cars we've been driving this week. We are going to talk to Joe Mosel. He is the Vice President of Development with AT&T, and he's going to tell us about their brand new studio in Atlanta. It's called Drive Studio. The top 5 cars that money can buy if money was no object. Roman Michael will be here to talk about that. Jerry Spahn, the head of communications for Rolls-Royce, is going to join us, along with their new chief, who is Pedro Mota. And Pedro will tell us all about what's going to happen at Rolls-Royce over the next year in his leadership, probably the premium luxury car company in the United States. Ryan with his Afterglow products and telling us what's happening as far as cleaning is concerned and giving you tips on making sure your car is shiny and ready for all those shows that you're going to take it to this summer. I've been driving the Jeep Grand Cherokee today. Headlights from the front all the way to the back. This vehicle has been beautifully redesigned a few years ago. It is a very wild ride if you take it off-road, but also an extremely comfortable ride if you take it on long road trips. One of the things that I like to honor Jeep for is the fact that they have done such an incredible job in the redesign of these vehicles, especially on the inside. And lots of tech coming into them now. Automatically the rain sensing wipers, the smart braking systems, all of those sort of hill descent controls, the off-roading. The 75th edition was one of the cars crowned in Mudfest recently, which is the Northwest Automotive Press Association's event where we test 27 vehicles on some of the muddiest conditions in the Northwest. Pretty much everywhere in the Northwest is muddy in April.
Does this still have the settings where you can set it to sand and mud and
yeah, so it allows you to really set the car up for exactly what the conditions are on the road, and then the car will respond in different ways. And they're adding lots of new things like air suspension. They have solid engines like the 3.6 Pentastar V6, 295 horsepower, 8-speed automatic, paddle shifters in an SUV. I think it was about 18 months, 2 years ago, Sean and I got to drive the Hellcat style version, the SRT8, which were down in Vegas. I think we were in LA somewhere. We found some very quiet road, which was undeveloped.
Previously quiet.
Yeah, previously quiet road. It was one of those roads where they had started a development, so they basically just had all the cars sitting out. They had all the houses sort of concreted in, but nothing was built. And let's just say the neighborhood wasn't quite the same when we'd finished with that car there. You can get it in a 2-wheel drive. Goodness knows why you would do that. You 4-wheel drive or the Jeep all-wheel drive, absolutely fantastic. Up to 30 miles a gallon. What does it compete with? Off-road, pretty much nothing. On-road, Kia Sorento, Ford Edge, Honda Pilot, the Nissan Murano, and the Toyota Highlander. It comes in about 5 different editions. I really do like the 75th anniversary edition. Isn't it strange to think that Jeep have been around for 75 years?
No, I did not drive the first one.
Yes, you did. Lies.
He's too old to be in the Army.
Yeah.
You glossed over something quickly. Up to 30 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
Amazing.
For such a heavy, big, off-roady type vehicle. This is the Grand Cherokee we're talking about. Starts at around 30K, goes up to 50K, depending on what model that you want. So I would say big thumbs up for me. Jeep just hitting it out of the park, not just in North America, but all over the world. When I was in Italy at the Alfa Romeo headquarters, they have Jeeps everywhere, they've built these big sort of rock outcroppings, and they just park them there. So as people drive past, you see these Jeeps sort of hanging off the edge of these big rocks and stuff. And Europeans love it. They're starting to understand now why our culture is so fabulous in North America. Because we have things like Jeep.
And
what else do we have?
SRT Jeeps.
SRT Jeeps. And lots of other stuff that's really cool, much better than Europe too. All right, AT&T is heading up all the latest car tech. We've talked about it on the show before, connected cars, innovations. They have also formed a special drive studio in Atlanta. Here to explain exactly what Car Studio is the VP of Business for AT&T. Joe, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, and thank you for having me on the show.
No problem. All right. So I've watched the videos about your new facility, and it seems to be like the United Nations of car tech. Would that be a good explanation?
You know, I've never heard that term before, but I think I'm going to start using it. I like it.
It's where you're bringing every sort of car tech company together to try and work how they would cooperate in putting new technology into cars. So in your words, explain to us what the Drive Studio is from AT&T.
Sure. The Drive Studio is the first of its kind innovation center for the connected car. So what AT&T did is brought together all of the car companies that we are partnering with, which is 19 of the major global brands, and the ecosystem partners, the people who develop the hardware, and AT&T who brings the connections. And we're all working together to kind of solve the next wave of the connected car. I think what we're seeing today, whether you have a Tesla, a GM, an Audi, or a Ford, I think this is just the first generation. And I think a lot of the stuff that we're working on that's going to come into the car in the future is just going to be like night and day from what we're experiencing today. It's going to be technology in the car, but it's going to be brought to you safely. It's going to be brought to you where, you could still, pay attention to the road and not get distracted by it. But
so what are some of the companies that you'll be working with at the studio?
Yeah, so some of the companies that we're working with in the studios, besides the automotive companies that I listed before, we have hardware companies such as Ericsson and Qualcomm and iHeartRadio, even entertainment type companies. So we kind of have a mix of all the ecosystem to make sure that, we're bringing in stuff that is for, not only for the automotive companies, but also for the consumers of what they want to experience in the car, how they could bring their smartphones and their tablet experience into the vehicle safely.
I watched a video of some of the things that you guys are working on, and the one that impressed me most, usually it impresses me that finding the nearest coffee shop, but what it impressed me most was the car told, in the video, the car told the driver, hey, your front indicator light had gone out, and I found your local garage, and they have an appointment at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Would you like me to book it in for you? And that sort of thing... so the car finds a fault, it knows what the fault is, it calls the garage or it contacts the garage via computer, finds the space that fits in with your calendar. I mean, will we actually have to do anything apart from put food in our mouths and watch TV at some point in our lives?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, from just the ease of your life, whether it's making that service appointment like you just described, or whether it's interacting with your connected home. I mean, we also do a demonstration where, whether you have home automation, where the car knows that you broke through a geofence that says, okay, make sure your house is going into closed mode, doors are locked, air conditioner is brought down, and then when you go through it the opposite way, make sure that, the house starts lighting up, the air conditioner raises. It's just going to be fascinating how the car is going to be able to communicate and make your whole life easier.
Is it going to be able to tell me when my kids are having a party at my house when I'm out of town?
Actually, that's funny is that, through our AT&T Digital Life, you get cameras inside your house, so you're able to kind of look remotely what's going on in your house. Whether you'd get the proactive alert or not, probably not, but you'd be able to check in and see how the party's going at least.
The most troubling thing, Joe, about that statement is his kids are 7-year-old twins, and so if they're partying when
I'm just planning ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, wow,
they are my children.
7-year-old twins found the keys to the party cabinet. We are in trouble. I know that you've already been working with a lot of manufacturers, and AT&T have a lot of devices on the market already that you can plug directly into your car. You work with Audi on their connected car and those sort of things. Is this a big dream for 25 years down the road, Joe? We're looking at this more, the results of this coming out more quickly than that.
Well, I think that you're going to start seeing, you figure that the Audi A3 was the first LTE car on the road. GM quickly followed it with their full lineup. I think that having technology in the car is here. It's here today. It's in a lot of models. You're going to hear a lot of announcements coming further where all the new model of cars are going to have this technology. We did a research with Ericsson that basically said 3 out of 4 consumers are making the technology a decision of choice of which vehicles they're purchasing. It's becoming just as important as some of the performance items that you mentioned in the car on the Jeep Cherokee above. So
Yeah.
I think it's here to stay. I think it's going to change drastically in the next couple years, and it's going to get even more so. I would say in the next 25 years, it's going to be stuff that me and you could never even dream about what we're going to be able to have the car do for us.
I would also, just before we get some information about how we can find out more, like to offer you my car and my house for a testing if you ever feel like you need to do that, Joe. Just call me up and you can install all this stuff in my car because it really fascinates me. How do we find out more about your new Drive Studio?
Okay, so easily you can find out more about the AT&T Drive Studio. You could go to our website at AT&T.com. You could visit one of our company-owned retail stores that are located locally across the country. And we're going to continue to make announcements. There's YouTube videos. There's a lot of different ways. We're going to do a digital ad campaign to talk about the importance and the value of having a mobile hotspot in your car. It's told from a child's perspective.
Joe, I want to thank you for giving up your Sunday morning. So many cool things to come on AT&T. It looks like these guys have their finger on the button. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to actually tour that facility. Coming up next, Roman Micah's going to be on the phone from the Fast Lane Car talking about the world's most expensive cars. That's next on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Staying connected with the automotive world, you're listening to Test Miles, a car radio show. I'm your host, Nick Miles, and joined in the studio by Brad, Jen, Sean, and Ryan as well. What have you been driving this week, Sean?
I've been driving the Hyundai Sonata Plug-in Hybrid Limited, and this is Hyundai's first plug-in car. It was also awarded Ward's Top 10 Best Engines. Some cool tech that I liked on the vehicle is the fact that they have a smart trunk where you just walk up. If you have your hands full, the trunk pops open instead of trying to wave your foot under the tailgate and possibly losing or falling over. They also have their Hyundai Blue Link. It comes with a 2-liter four-cylinder engine, that has 202 horsepower combined with the electric engine. Has a 6-speed automatic transmission. It gets 27 miles on a fully charged range, and then you can get upwards to 62 if you combine that with the hybrid. One of the cool things was I drove it a little over 400 miles this last week and literally didn't even go through a half a tank of gas. Some of its competitors are the Ford Fusion plug-in and the Chevy Volt. It feels like a luxury car. I was super happy driving this vehicle and almost considered buying one just because of the fuel economy. You have the electric torque when you need it off the line, so it is quick off the line. And starting price is $34,600, and the one that I was test driving was pretty close to $40,000.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Jen. Quick fun fact. What do you got for us this morning?
Okay, what's the difference between a supercar and a hypercar? The supercar term originated in the 1920s to describe the 6.7-liter inline engine, and now is commonly used on cars that range from 500 to 700 horsepower. The term hypercar is for the top 1% of supercars that have 800-plus horsepower and a limited production.
I'm a hyper radio producer, by the way. I'm a radio host. Roman Mike, a good friend of mine, and we travel together every time we get the opportunity to drive together at drive events. The Fast Lane Car is out of this park on the webs and also on YouTube. He has the Fast Lane Truck as well. Good morning, Roman. How are you?
Hey, Nick, you ready to take it to 11?
Yeah. Take it to
I've been
11.
listening to the show. Oh, my gosh. Hyundais, Ford, hybrids. Let's talk about something that hybrids can also do. Let's talk about hybrids that can go fast. And I'm talking crazy fast, like the fastest hybrid in the world.
Which is?
Not a Prius, right?
No, God, no. It's the Koenigsegg Regera, and I had a chance in Geneva recently to check it out. It's only $2.1 million, Nick.
Oh, all right. Let me just get my checkbook out.
If you get the base model. If you get if you load it up, it's probably more like 2.5.
The cars that I got a list of here are all sort of way out of. It's probably my lifetime's income for most of these cars, I would say. Is that your favorite hybrid car that you've seen, or is there some other super hybrid cars that you think are better than that?
It's the world's fastest hybrid car, and I thought it'd be fun to chat about cars that we would buy if money were no object, and that is certainly one of them. Here's the funny thing, Nick. It'll do 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, right? It's got a V8 that puts out, 1,500 horsepower combined with the 3 electric engines.
Wow.
But Christian Koenigsegg, who I was chatting to in Geneva, said, hey, we don't talk about 0 to 60. We talk about 0 to 250.
Which is what? Do you know what the time of that is?
Yeah, hell yeah! It's 20 seconds.
Oh God, 250 miles an hour in 20 seconds.
Yeah. And you know why they don't talk about 0 to 60? Because there's actually, when I was in Geneva, there's actually a faster car right across the lane, and that's the brand new Bugatti Chiron, and that will actually go faster from 0 to 60. So Christian Koenigsegg wanted to downplay the 0 to 60 time, and he wanted to upplay the 0 to 250 time. And the reason for that is because the Bugatti is all-wheel drive, whereas the Regera is only rear-wheel drive. So it doesn't quite get off the line as quickly.
Tell me about sort of the really super expensive cars. So you're talking about $2.5 million for there. There are cars that are around $4 million, right?
Yeah. But those are kind of one-offs. I don't, those are cars that you got to be like a Saudi prince to own. I like cars that I can actually dream about and think about owning. So the new Bugatti, right? That one is $2.6 million. It is the world's fastest car with a top speed of 261. The Regera only goes 252. So it's 9 miles per hour faster. Gosh knows where you could do 261 outside of a racetrack, but it's pretty amazing. The old. People talk about Bugattis, right? And they talk about the Veyron, which was the old one. And the problem with that one is it was basically an engine that had a lot of turbochargers and
Let's do this, Roman. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break for the news, but I want to come back and hear more about it and some more of the cars on this. So hang on the phone for a second. This is Test Miles. We'll take a break for the CBS News. We'll be right back with some more of these amazing cars that Roman's seen in Geneva, and hopefully you actually got to drive some of them on the list here. This is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
We're on the phone with Roman Micah from the Fast Lane Car, the Fast Lane Truck, talking about some of the world's most expensive supercars. Roman, some of these cars were built specifically for the United States and some are built for the world. Is that right?
Yeah, they're limited editions. So the Koenigsegg Regera, they're building a total of 80 only, and some of those are coming here to America. The Bugatti is, of course, coming to America, but these cars are... they're cars for people with the kind of disposable incomes that I think only me and you could dream of, right? I mean, if you're going to spend $2.6 million on a car, I can't even think about what the insurance cost would be, Nick.
I have a world plan, by the way. I'm going to own some of these. I have a plan. All I say, it's written out. It's written out on paper. I'm not sure I'll execute it, but I have a world plan.
Weren't you recently in another one of these very expensive cars, a Rolls Royce?
Yes, in the Dawn. Actually, we're going to be talking to Pedro, the new president of North America for Rolls Royce, in our next segment coming up. So, if you had to choose, finally, Roman, if you had to choose one of these cars that you were actually going to own, and that includes maintenance and looking after and garage and driving, what would you choose?
That's a great question, and actually the one I choose I just drove this week. So there's this new set of, and you had a great definition of hypercars that now take electricity and combine it with traditional gasoline engines to create the best of both worlds. And what I mean by that is a gas engine has, a lot of horsepower, a lot of thrust, but an electric motor has a lot of torque. And when you combine the two, you get the best of both worlds. So the three hypercars that are the most expensive that fall in that, including the Koenigsegg, but the mass production ones are the McLaren P1, the LaFerrari, and the Porsche 918. And they all combine this magical, very high-tech use of electricity and gasoline to just increase performance. Now, there is a car that is approachable that has the same technology, and you can buy actually starting maybe tomorrow because they're building them as of tomorrow. Can you guess what that car is, Nick?
Is it made by Acura?
It is. Very good. Yeah.
Look at me guessing right. The NSX?
Yep, it's the NSX. The NSX has 3 electric motors, one built into the transmission and one each on the 2 front wheels, and I got to drive it both on the track and on the road, and it's it's amazing and terrifying at the same time. It's amazing because the car does a lot of the thinking for you. It is a technological tour de force. So there's a thing called torque vectoring where if you go around a corner, right, normally the way a traditional car works is the rear wheels obviously propel the car and the front wheels do the steering, and then if there's too much power coming from or too much weight coming from the rear, they overpower the front wheels, and there's the thing called understeer. The car tends to want to push. But when you have torque vectoring, think about that. When you have 2 electric motors in each of the 2 front wheels, you can actually have the outside wheel, if you're going right, spin faster and provide more power than the inside wheel, and basically the car drives itself almost around that corner. And when you feel that actually happening in real life, it's just, like I say, it's amazing because you're like, oh my God, I'm such a good driver. You feel like you're, Mario Andretti, if you're using that reference.
Don't ruin it for me because I get to drive it on the 9th of next month. So,
but it's terrifying because the car's doing it and you're not.
Yeah, my whole life's terrifying, so it won't be any different from everything else. Roman Micah, the Fast Lane car, the Fast Lane truck, you remain one of my best friends in the whole world, and I love everything that you do. Hopefully I'll be driving again with you soon, Roman.
Yeah, we have a good time, Nick, and you're the best guy in the world to drive with because not only are you entertaining, but you're extremely knowledgeable. So it's a pleasure always to be in the car with you, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be on the show with you.
No problem. You see, clown school for me really paid off. All right. Brad, what have you been driving this week?
How in the world do I go from that segment to talking about the 2016 Prius?
Yeah, briefly, I'm guessing.
Briefly, yes. But this is the 4th generation Prius. It's been around for almost 20 years. And I guess to say Toyota is the leader in hybrid technology and sales is a bit of an understatement, as they just surpassed 9 million sales worldwide, and they've sold about 3.5 million Prius vehicles. And their success is almost their liability in a way because, well, some of it has to do with the early adopters of the Prius were a bit arrogant, whatever the term might be. So a lot of people...
Pain in their derriere.
Yeah, exactly. But so some of the new buyers for hybrid technology want to have something that looks different than that wedge-shaped Prius. They don't want to be the same thing. But this new 2016 has an all-new, fairly aggressive, controversial look to it. It's pretty aggressive, especially for Toyota and for the Prius. But again, it's really all about the mileage. And you can get 54 miles to the gallon, and the Eco model gets up to 58. There's 6 grade levels, and it goes from 24.2 up into kind of 31, 32 options. So you've got the Fusion hybrid, the Camry hybrid, you've got a lot of that. But the driving position on this vehicle is so much nicer than the old predecessor to it. The one negative that I've got, Sean had alluded to, there's some funky white stuff on the test car that we've got on the steering wheel and all. But I found myself taking my eyes off the road a little bit, concentrating on that center console area. But other than that, I was surprised, and I actually had to check myself a few times going 75 miles an hour on the freeway.
I'm going to get in big trouble for this, but perhaps that's why Prius drivers are so bad. They're distracted by everything that's in the middle of the console. They can't stop looking at them. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the head of Rolls-Royce, the new president of North American Rolls-Royce, and the guy who's in charge of all the PR. They have them on the phone together in case I ask some difficult questions. That's coming up next on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Now coming up, latest Motors, Harley-Davidson and Gladstone on Saturday, May 28th, Memorial Day celebration featuring live music from Kevin Selfie and the Tornadoes. And come and join the free barbecue from noon until 3. It's in honor of our servicemen and women. That's Saturday, the 28th of May at latest Motors and Harley-Davidson Gladstone. There's more information at latest-hd.com. Of course, I am a new Harley owner, and I bought the bike that was in Captain America in the movie, and the Street 750. I also have a Captain America helmet, Captain America jacket, and my new backpack is actually a shield.
And you're going to be wearing all this with your British Union Jack socks.
Yes, I am, because it's the Captain. I am Captain Anglo-American. My underwear is from the United Kingdom, and my outfit is from America, Captain America. But let's talk about luxury and America and England all over again. I, of course, have been a fan of the biggest luxury company in the world. At the beginning of the year, there was a new guard came in to take care of Rolls-Royce North America. The gentleman's name is Pedro Moto, and along with Jerry Spawn, they are joining us on the phone. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And Pedro, I know that it's a busy schedule for you, but you guys have a lot going on at Rolls-Royce, including a brand new vehicle called the Dawn, don't you?
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Excellent.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're very proud of our Dawn. Because of what it means to our brand. We started something with the Wraith, a trend towards more cool modern luxury. The Wraith was able to attract a lot of younger buyers to our company, and we hope the Dawn will continue exactly that trend. And in addition, we'll be able to attract a lot more also female buyers. So very excited.
You know, when I took the Dawn for a drive in San Diego, and we had the cameras, of course, facing in the car, me driving, pictures, of the car driving and stuff. I actually regret doing that because I wish all the cameras had been facing outward, looking at the other people looking at the Dawn, because the amount of attraction that a new car gets is absolutely unbelievable. But it's a new name. It's a new attitude. It's a new horizon for you guys. You've had these names like Wraith and Phantom and those type of names. And now Dawn is kind of, it's a new era for Rolls-Royce.
It is. I mean, it's a little bit of a move away from those ethereal names to a more sensual name. As you know, it's a name that suggests the fresh opportunities, that a new day begins, an awakening, a burst of sunshine. But as you know, the name was also used back in the 40s, 1948, in the Silver Dawn. So it also has ties with the history of Rolls-Royce, our very unique brand.
And it's only your third convertible in 45 years, is that right?
That is correct. It's something very special. A Rolls-Royce drop head is meant to be something very, very special.
And I will tell you, it's 6.6 liter twin turbo V12 or a 12-cylinder is just unbelievable. 563 horsepower. I love it when guys sit at traffic lights and they rev their engines with you because you just can smoke them in this car. But I didn't do that, by the way, in your car. I didn't do that in your car. At least I don't remember doing it. But it's one of those things. The deliveries of the Dawn are sold out through the end of the year. Are you working on delivering them for next year now?
Exactly. So the Dawn is sold out this year. We're working on providing each customer a Rolls-Royce worthy delivery experience. Now we're working, of course, already in production and volumes for next year. We expect another very, very strong year in 2017 for the Dawn. And as you know, probably you heard around the New York Auto Show, the future is bright. There's lots of new products coming up. One of them, as you probably might have heard, is the Black Badge.
Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting to be invited to drive one of those too. So don't lose my name off the invite list. Jerry, I want to ask you a question. The brand image. What's different about Rolls-Royce? What's different about the image of Rolls-Royce?
Well, Nick, thanks. It's great to talk to you today. Rolls-Royce is unique in that for those of us that work around automobiles, motor cars a lot. It's special working for Rolls-Royce because not only are we the penultimate brand on four wheels, it's a brand. It is the ultimate luxury brand in the world, and so there's a lot of excitement. I'd say one of the wonderful things about Rolls-Royce is that you certainly don't have to explain it to anyone.
Of course, and what I like about it is the fact that you say it's the premium luxury brand. I mean, we talk about Cartier and Lacroix and all these different luxury brands, and when you think of the ultimate luxury is definitely Rolls-Royce. As a car maker, you're still making these cars by hand. Is that an important part of what you guys do?
Absolutely. Nick, we don't make cars for a segment of customers. We try to make cars for a unique individual, and most of our cars have some form of bespoke content, and we're very proud that we were able to double our bespoke content in the last few years with the Wraith. We basically doubled it. So, as you know, at Rolls-Royce, you pretty much can have anything you want built into your car.
Now, I hear that, you actually have a book of your favorite bespoke cars that have been put together, and sort of your favorite cars that have been special order. For those people that don't know, that bespoke is basically where you tell Rolls-Royce what you want, and if it's physically and legally possible, they just go out and do it. Pedro, tell me some of your favorite bespoke vehicles that Rolls-Royce have put together.
I mean, as you know, taste is very individual, so what I'll tell is what I personally like, and of course someone else might like something a little different. But for example, we did a small series of a car called the Umbra Wraith. It was a series of Wraiths, and basically, as you know, the Wraith was developed to be a two-tone automobile. So the central piece is in matte black. The rest of the car is in glossy black. The interior is finished in Mugello red, and the veneers are made of carbon fiber. So overall, the car looks amazingly sexy. It's a very sporty look, and that's definitely one of my favorites. Another one is that we presented at Pebble Beach last year was the Wraith inspired by music. I don't know if you're familiar with that car, Nick.
Oh, I was there when you unveiled it.
You were there too?
Yeah.
Awesome. As you know, copper is a material found in a lot of music instruments. So the veneers were finished in copper. The car has a state-of-the-art bespoke audio, and also the grills of the speakers are finished in copper to give it an amazing, unique look and feel.
I have.
Yes.
I have many ideas for this. Let me pitch you my idea. I have this idea for bespoke cars, right? I think you should do what's called a Nations Edition, and that would be a Rolls-Royce for each nation around the world. So, for instance, if you were an American a Swede living in America, and you had a successful business, you're an innovator of jobs, and you wanted a car, but your home country was Sweden, you would do the international edition, which would have Swedish undertones. So perhaps yellow and blue piping from the Swedish flag. You would have things from that country, colors and materials, the woods that were found in that country would make the interior wood, that sort of thing. So that's my pitch for the bespoke cars. How about that? Can we do that?
I'm sure, Nick, you'd like one with a Union Jack on top of the car.
I was thinking maybe instead of a champagne fridge, we could have a tea maker in the back. How about that?
I'm sure that's possible. We'll talk with our engineers when you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready. I just can't afford to pay for it right now. I'm ready to take delivery. I know that I have plans to try and visit the Rolls-Royce factory next year. That's sort of on my schedule, and I know I'm working with the team. Congratulations on being the president of North America for the most premium luxury brand in the world. Jerry, as always, thank you for supplying us with all the information about Rolls-Royce and keeping us up to date on what is the most premium and sought-after piece of equipment in the world. Test Miles, of course, is here 24/7 at testmiles.com. We love to hear from you listeners. Of course, you can see and hear the show on YouTube and Facebook and all the other places. And the whole team will be back in the studio again next week for another absolutely packed and entertaining show. We thank you for being part of the Test Miles team.
neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.